Hello, guys. So today we're going to talk about some changes in the most popular programs that are currently available in the area of immigration to Canada. We will talk about Morden and Winkler cities that provide a kind of unique opportunity to get the permanent residence in Canada due to the city support. My name is Elena Palatnik. I'm regulated Canadian immigration consultant. Let's go. So for those of you who do not know what is Morden and Winkler, let's talk a little bit about that. So Morden and Winkler are comparatively small cities in Manitoba, one of the central provinces of Canada. These cities are popular because they give the green corridor to those who want to get to the city and to live in Canada. For those who stay now overseas, who are foreigners, the city may give the support letter, which enables the candidate to further submit an application for the nomination of the province of Manitoba, which in its course gives you the right to submit an application for permanent residency. So the structure of the programs of Morden and Winkler look pretty much the same. First, you need to agree with the city, then with the province, and then with the whole Canada on the federal stage. And in the end, bingo, you have the permanent residency. You arrive to those cities, you start living there, and occasionally, if you do not like something, you have the right to change an intent and to go live in any other part of Canada, to work in any capacity, to open your own business, to study in Canada, and the price for education in these circumstances would be as for citizens of Canada, not as for foreigners, which is quite cheap. So the population of those cities is not that big. Today, Morden has approximately 13,000 people, and Winkler is a little bit larger. These cities are connected with each other. It's like 10-minute drive from one from another. They're both situated very close to the American border, and the climate is something challenging there, but still it's really good place to start living because it is a very family-friendly place, both of them. There are many schools, there are colleges, there is great manufacturing there, which means that almost all the professions are in demand in these regions. Those who have been arriving to Morden and Winkler during the last years, they found their first job during 1 to 3 months after arrival. Some of them, even now, we have the family that we've been servicing through the immigration process. They are arriving in 3 days to Morden City and already have where to stay. They have the accommodations rented and provided by the city with all the furniture and needed stuff. For those who don't know, usually when you rent something in Canada, you don't have any furniture there, so you need to buy it first. Here, specifically for the needs of those newcomers that just arrive, there are transitional apartments and houses that are fully equipped with everything that you need. Just arrive and stay there until you find your permanent place of living, the permanent house or apartment for long-term rent. Now, the next thing is that those guys that are now arriving, they already secured the job for themselves, which means that they just arrive, stay at the place that was already provided to them, and the next day they can go and start working and making money. These cities are really unique because the settlement services for newcomers are very wide, which means that there is always a volunteer who can arrive to the airport of Winnipeg to meet the family, to drive them to Morden or Winkler, which usually takes approximately 1.5 hours to get there. Then there are volunteers who show everything all around, starting from banks, real estate agencies, where to do the social insurance number. There are newcomers events that are provided specifically to make people get to know each other, to make friends, to know someone who has been living in the city for a very long time, and those who just arrived. This is a very, very friendly community, and it is extremely safe comparing to other locations in Canada. The majority of applicants usually choose Morden and Winkler when they have kids, because you have a lot of stuff there for the kids. A lot of people from all over the world arrive there, and you have a lot of communities. There is a Filipino community, Indian community, African community, all of them. And each of them provides their unique cultural contribution to the city, which means that you can find all types of music, arts, schools, dancing, sports, everything that you just can imagine. There is a wonderful opportunity to go figure skating there, to play hockey, obviously. There is a lake of Mini Worcester just in Morden, which means that you have your own beach where you can spend summertime. And overall, it is important to say that even though sometimes winters are really rough, but the summers are extremely wonderful. It is hot, it is very sunny. Now, let's talk about the ways you can get there and what are the requirements of those cities to give you the support letter. First and foremost, there is a list of occupations in demand, separately for Morden and separately for Winkler. Previously, both cities and other communities of Manitoba, they've been selecting candidates depending on the work experience and depending on the list of occupations in demand of the whole Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program, which includes a lot of occupations. Now the situation changed and each city has their separate list of occupations, which is very flexible and it's dynamic. It changes all the time. So far, if we talk about the end of 2025, beginning of 2026, most in-demand occupations for Morden and Winkler both are registered nurses and physicians. For the physicians licensed, fully licensed in the United States, in the United Kingdom, Ireland, and New Zealand, their pathway is quite fast because as long as the applicant satisfies other requirements, the city gives them the community support letter because physicians and registered nurses are really needed because the community has grown very much recently, and the number of people exceeded the number of medical workers that are needed. So if you are a physician or a registered nurse, if you're a physician who is licensed in the United States, United Kingdom, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, this program is really a very good fit for you. Also, keeping in mind that there are job-ready vacancies already there waiting for you, which means that you will be able to arrive and start working as soon as it happens. Now, as for Morden City, they are also looking for French teachers, and the French teachers, as long as there are many kids, it's obvious there are many schools right now, both in Morden and Winkler. Both of these cities have a kind of French immersion program, which means that from the elementary school, kids start to learn all the subjects in French language. That's why the necessity of French language teachers is essential. For the French teachers, the authorities of Morden City want that the applicant has knowledge of both French and English, at least at level of Canadian language benchmark 5. If you compare it with IELTS General, that would be listening, writing, and speaking 5.0 and reading 4.0 at least, and pretty much the same for French. In order to satisfy this requirement, all the applicants need to pass either IELTS General or CELPIP for English language and TEF Canada or TCF Canada for French. Both cities will readily provide the city support letter if the applicant has a job offer from one of the cities, Winkler, Morden, or even the rural municipality of Stanley, which also includes several more communities around. The job offer should be from the local employer. This information is very easily verifiable, so please be aware and check that the employer really provided you this job offer, that it's not a scam, because sometimes that happens. The cities, as I said, are very small, so everybody knows each other, and if you just submit an application with a fake job offer, that would be very obvious and you will not be supported. It is important to note that the government of both cities, they want you to show that you have at least 2 years of work experience in the occupation that you are applying to. Say it's registered nurse or it's a physician, or you have been provided with a job offer from the local employer. You need to show that you have at least 2 years of work experience in that capacity. These 2 years of work experience should fall in the last 5 years, so it should be recent work experience. Not necessarily it should be the last 2 years. It can be like, say, taking the period from 2020 to 2025. You've been working as a painter, for example, from 2020 to 2022, and yet now you submit an application with a job offer, being offered a job of a painter, that would fit. Okay. There's also a requirement to have a proper education in terms of Morden and Winkler. You need to prove that you have completed post-secondary education or training in duration of 1 year at least after school, which means you've graduated from school and then you go to college, for example, for 1 year, for 2 years, or you have bachelor's degree, master's degree. That all would fit. Right now, there is no strict requirement that you need to do educational credentials assessment, both for Morden and Winkler, unless you go through the express entry system. If you understand what I'm talking about, you understand how to use it. But again, like, you are not required to do it because sometimes you don't have enough points for your language capacity in order to create the express entry profile. So that's fine. You can submit an application to Morden and Winkler just with the diplomas and transcripts, surely with certified translation of those. Now, depending on the work experience and the occupation that you fall in, you need to have a proper language level. The language level depends on the level of occupation. As you may know, there is a structure of the occupations in Canada, which is divided into tiers: training, education, responsibilities, stuff like that. So there is tier 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Depending on which tier you have occupation in, the level of English would be either lower or higher. So, for example, the highest level of IELTS General 6.0 all modules, which is Canadian Language Benchmark 7 or CELPIP 7, for example, all modules would be needed for the highly skilled professionals of tier 0-1. That would be physicians, for example. So at least Canadian Language Benchmark 7, which is equal to 6666 all modules IELTS General. If this is tier 2 or 3, the minimum level is Canadian Language Benchmark 5. And for the semi-skilled and low-skilled professions under tier 4 and 5, you will need to get your language not lower than Canadian Language Benchmark 4, which is really easy to gain. Morden and Winkler cities do have the age limits for the candidates, which is from 21 to 45 years. There are some exceptions when the cities may support the candidate who is over 45, but this person should be very strong in the education and work experience and prove that he is worth this support. Now, there is also the requirement to show settlement funds. Settlement funds is the funds on the bank account that the applicant needs to show on the bank account of himself in any currency in any country, but the sum is regulated by the Canadian government. If you go without express entry system, just straight to Morden and Winkler, you need to show at least 10,000 Canadian dollars for the principal applicant, plus 2,000 Canadian dollars for each dependent family member. Say this is a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 kids. That would be 10,000 for the principal applicant, plus 6 more thousand for the dependent applicants. This is when you are out of express entry. If you go with express entry, the federal government regulates it and the sum would be higher, much higher. Now, these funds need to be shown on a bank account with the flow funds for the 6 months preceding the date of the application submission. You will also need to be sure that these funds will stay on the bank account until the end of the process. And these funds are just used by you when you get to Morden or Winkler for your settlement needs during the first months while you are searching for your first employment. So it can be used for your rent, for purchasing a car, for example, anything you want. Now, if you have any connection to Morden or Winkler in terms of a relative, a friend, someone whom you've known many years before this person immigrated to the cities, this is also a great plus to your application, and those candidates with such kind of connection would be appreciated and supported. It's important to note here that at some point Morden and Winkler become a little bit different, and here we are. So let's say you've submitted an application to both cities and you've been selected. You are further invited for the online interview. If you pass this interview successfully, then the city of Winkler provides you with an endorsement letter. But the city of Morden, if you are overseas and you have no connections and you don't have a job offer in Morden, they will invite you for the obligatory exploratory visit to Morden. Upon your own expense, you will need to get either visitor visa or electronic travel authorization, get to Morden at least for 1 week, to get acquainted with the city. Now, this kind of exploratory visit may be waived only if you have either a job offer, or you are a physician or a registered nurse, or you have a very close connection to the city. Now, there is also a new category in Morden City and in Winkler City that was provided recently, which states that both cities would like to see candidates, and they also waive the exploratory visit for them as well, who can be described as unique or very specialized, through which a substantial benefit would be given to the Morden community and Winkler community. It can be cultural and social interest as well. So if you have a kind of unique skills, or for example, you have a good investment and you have a kind of a startup project which you feel is a good fit for Morden or Winkler, you can submit your short business plan, your ideas, together with your application. You will need also to prove that you have enough funds to realize this project when you are in Canada already, and that also gives you a great benefit. So technically speaking, there is no specific in-demand occupation list if you have those unique skills, or you can prove and want to open some kind of business in Morden or Winkler and you have funds for that. It can be even a small business, but the city needs to feel that this is a good contribution and benefit for the economics of both cities. It can be anything. It can be a school, it can be a training center, it can be something for the kids, it can be a shop, it can be a restaurant, it can be a delivery service, taxi, whatever makes you happy. For sure, not being in Morden or Winkler, you probably don't know what is needed. That's why we are here. We usually consult on that because we are located in Morden City, and we always have the updated information about what are the city needs, what they want to see, what type of investment they're looking for. And in this occasion, we just will be able to elaborate the business idea together with you in order to proceed with the program. So for those who don't have close connection, job offer, or significant benefit for the city, there is an exploratory visit, which is quite rare right now, but still it is. And the next step after the exploratory visit would be the endorsement letter from Morden. Now, when you have the endorsement letter, then you submit an application to the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. The processing time is very variable. It may take from like 3 to 8 months sometimes. Finally, you get the nomination, which further enables you to submit an application for permanent residency. When you get your permanent residency documents, confirmation of permanent residency, immigrant visas, if you are from the visa country, then you arrive to the Morden City or Winkler City and start your life there with all this full support which the city has been providing for many years. We have a lot of families that we've been servicing who are living in Morden and Winkler, and they're pretty happy. You can also see on our Instagram pages a lot of feedbacks from those people. So for someone who doesn't want to pass IELTS General in English and TEF Canada in French on the highest level of Canadian language benchmark 9, which is usually needed for the express entry system, these types of pathways and immigration strategies are the ideal options, because you don't need to have a very high level of English. You just need to prove that you are essential for the city, that you will have a beneficial influence on the city, and in these terms you will be able to receive this type of support from it. Now, both cities, they accept applications all year round. After the application is submitted, you need to wait for a couple of months for the city to decide whether to invite you to the online interview or not. It is also important to know that there is no procedure in the cities of informing you that they are not interested in your candidature at this time. If you didn't receive any reply, say in 3 months, then it automatically means that you were not selected for the support. And if you've not been selected once, it doesn't mean you wouldn't be selected when you submit an application second time. Now, if you would like to get a full assessment of your chances on immigration to Canada across all provinces, cities, community supports, federal programs, welcome to Paleon Global. We will be very glad to service you, to provide you with the chances evaluation consultation. You can also contact us by email, and all the contacts are provided down below in the description of this video. We will be happy to send you the free preliminary consultation on immigration to Canada, where you will find the detailed information connected with the steps, procedures, how we work, what can we do for you as the regulated immigration consultant company. And I'm sure that one day we will meet you in Morden, Winkler, and have a coffee or something else. I hope this information was useful for you. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments, and thank you for your time.